Hello, this is Darien Smartt, and you're listening to Chapter Break, or alternatively, an Aragon and Back Again emergency minisode. Lucy and I did not have the opportunity to record this next episode because our days off did not line up in recent times. The last time this happened, we did release one of the Dragon's Keep bonus episodes, but that's not something we necessarily want to do regularly. Because while it's fun to give all of the listeners a peek into the chaos that is the Dragon's Keep, it's kind of a bummer for the listeners who have already joined us over on the Patreon to not have something new to listen to. Ideally, chapter breaks will also not be a regular occurrence, more like a break glass in case of emergency, because we'd rather release something for you rather than go an entire 4 weeks without releasing any episodes. So today, here is something that is not related to the Aragon books, but is related to dragons. Specifically, dragon-type Pokémon. Today, I'm going to tell you all what I think dragon-type Pokémon would have in their dragon hordes. Now, there are 75 dragon-type Pokémon, which is a lot for me to ramble on about. So, I'm breaking it down into the pure dragon types, aka the Pokemon that are just dragon type, or the dual type Pokemon in which dragon is the first type. So, Dragonite is a dragon and flying type, meaning they will be in this episode. But Applin, which is actually my favorite dragon Pokemon, is a grass dragon type, the grass type being first. So, sacrifices have been made for the episode. Additionally, I have eliminated any entries that have variation duplicates. So, this means Mega Dragonite, not in this episode, but not because I don't love their design. I think it's very good and fun, and the internet has been way too mean about this happy, friendly dragon that we should all feel very blessed to have. I am also eliminating the multiple color variations of Kyurem and also the various types of Ziggurat, because I just feel like the things in those horde would just be the first version's horde, but bigger or more or a hyper-specific variation, and that just wasn't interesting. So, with these filters, we have gone from 75 to 37, and I think that's pretty reasonable for a minisode. So let's start. These are entirely vibes based, and I will not be elaborating on anything stated here today. First up, Dratini, Bubble Wands. Dragonair, Pearl Rings, but only Pearl Rings that have been lost at the beach. Bagon, Signed Baseballs. Shelgon, RC cars. Axu, duplicates from trading card games given to them by their older siblings. So you know how this works when you're the older sibling and you get a package of trading cards and you open it up and you got some new ones, but also it's like, here's just like a sixth exact same, well, Squirtle, let's use that example. Squirtle that I already have, well, you'll give the duplicates to your younger siblings because they don't know any better and they're just happy to get Pokemon cards. Fracture is dental floss. And I will explain this one. It's because their tusk won't grow back if it's broken, so they're constantly sharpening it. I think they should just constantly be trying to take care of it. And I've said this recently on the Dragon's Keep, but y'all do need to be flossing your teeth. It actually is super important to your overall oral health. This isn't a scam. It is why your gums bleed when you go for your annual cleanings. There's a lot of plaque and tartar that have been built up on your gums, and removing those tears that sensitive tissue. So you go ahead and floss your teeth. Even if you're just using a water pick, that's good too. Just use that regularly. If something you're going to use, it's better than not using it at all. Next up, Haxorus, woodworking tools. Drudagon, antique candlesticks. Gumi, rubber ducks. Sliggoo, yo-yos, and they do know how to do tricks. Gudra, pastel Halloween decor. this is a good year for them because I have already, I know it's August 2nd when I'm recording this. I've already hit up a lot of the places that sell the Halloween stuff. They already have it all out. I feel like a lot of the pastel aesthetic is the excuse is, Summerween. But I do feel like that's just, again, corporations not getting what like a niche internet bit is about because the pastel is not what makes a Summerween. But they're still very cute. I almost bought some pastel goats from Home Goods, and I still might go back for them because I've been thinking about them for a week. Anyway, Gudra's eating good this year. Jingmo'o, they also collect yo-yos, but they don't know how to do tricks. They just think they're neat and they can do the basic yo-yo. And then we have Reggie Drago. And they collect Beanie Babies because someone had to be collecting a classic horde item. Now that gets us to our half dragon type Pokemon and then the primarily dragon type. So dragon is the first type. This is where we find our friend Dragonites, and they collect undeliverable mail, but they never open it. They just make sure it has a safe place in case someone ever comes looking for it. Altaria collects Disney blind box pens. And yes, it is specifically the blind box. They like the dopamine rush of the borderline gambling addiction of a blind box. Salamence, they collect swords. And yeah, that just feels right, doesn't it? Latias collects Diet Coke. And Latios collects Mentos. This is very specifically a horde thing. So when they get together, you get it. Rayquaza, their horde is made up of the I Survived shirts from various tourist traps or thrill rides. Gibble collects Hot Wheels. Gabite collects Neopets plush from McDonald's Happy Meal toys from 2004 and 2005. And yes, that includes the little pet clips. Garchomp collects really cool rocks they found on the ground while out and about. And I feel like some folks misunderstand what the collection is, so they'll like buy them like really cool crystals or things like that. And that's very nice, but the point is the rock has to be a neat one discovered in the wild. Reshiram collects teacups. Zekrom collects cracked teacups. And Kubrim collects wedding anniversary teacups. You know the kind you see at the thrift stores. And you just feel a little sad when you see them there. They love filling their horde with those. Zygarde's horde is full of tennis balls. Come on. Yeah. Hakamo'o collects Lorcana cards, and they do play at their local game shop every week. Komo'o collects pressed pennies, but only the kind from the real crank machines. You know, the ones where you put the penny in and the quarters and you crank it around and you're physically cranking it and watching the penny getting pressed into like the design of a penguin or a roller coaster at the theme park. That one. Not the ones that you put that you just swipe the card and you pick and it just presses a copper colored piece of metal into the shape. That's not, I see those and I don't feel like that's the same thing. I get why it's cheaper, who has quarters, who's got pennies, but like the point of it is the press penny, right? It's the crank option. I don't understand wanting to do this, but have the crank penny part taken out of this souvenir experience. I just feel like it's a very niche thing, and some things we lose to time, like phone booths, right? Like we don't have those because they aren't a thing we need or easily accessible anymore. So either the penny crank machines are sporadic and just are old vestiges, or maybe if you have some while you're at the zoo with your nephew, you can bust that out and it's a fun little thing, or they're just not there anymore and we just accept that as a piece of bygone history. But instead of this, like swapping out the quarters with, you can just pay with a credit card, and instead of it literally being a penny, it's just like a piece of metal already in the machine. It just feels like we're like digging up this old grave, or just like constantly like reviving with like eldritch necromancy this whimsical thing that is just being corrupted rather than allowed to pass on into the ether. Droopy's horde is full of caramel apple lollipops. Dracloak's horde is full of jack-o'-lantern trick-or-treat buckets. And Dragapult's is vintage Halloween decor. Cyclizar has a horde that's full of Lorcana cards only for the art. They do not know how to play the game. They are not interested in learning how to play the game. Do not ask them to come play with you. Tatsugiri, this, if you didn't know this one, I didn't know this one until I did this little boat minisode here. This is a sushi one. And it has 3 different types. So, yeah. And I don't know why I'm weirded out by the sushi one, because again, my favorite little dragon is the apple one. So I don't know why this food one freaks me. I know why this food one freaks me out. We don't need to dissect this. But anyway, Tatsugiri has a horde that's full of parts of imploded billionaire submarines. Fergabax has souvenir spoons. Artabax collects nail polish. And I'll explain this. You've seen their talons. You know. Baxcalibur has a horde that is full of international covers of their favorite book series. And what book series, you may ask? Well, that varies on the individual. Obviously, there is no one rubber stamp. Every Pokemon of the same type is the same. Nope, they all have their distinct personalities. You know this. Some really like the work of Jane Austen and love to collect it in different languages. And some are a big fan of just collecting the Percy Jackson books from different parts of the world. And last, that brings us to Roaring Moon. And now, Roaring Moon is a paradox Pokemon that is said to be an ancient relative of Mega Salamence or a counterpart from a parallel timeline. But it is not a Mega Evolve. It is not a duplicate type subclass. And it is also a dual type with the dragon as the primary. So it does count. And Roaring Moon has a horde that's full of stray asteroids. And you might be like, but wouldn't that be more of a Rayquaza thing? Because, like, space? And it's like, no. Because I think Rayquaza really likes roller coasters. And I will not elaborate at this time. That's it. All 37. Like I said, this is a minisode. It's not going to be a full-length episode. It's just me talking at you. So I hope you enjoyed this little shenanigan. We will be back to our regularly scheduled programming soon. Thank you for your patience. I hope you enjoyed the shenanigan, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care, everybody.